Welcome to Revelation Unraveled. I'm your host, William Tapley, also known as the third eagle of the apocalypse and the co-prophet of these end times. Today is Saturday, October the 24th, 2014. And last night I was watching a very interesting video by the Croxt. And he was talking about a music video just released on Thursday on YouTube from One Direction, called Steal My Girl. And he was very correct in saying this is a prophecy from the Illuminati about their plans for the rest of our planet. However, the Croxt did miss quite a bit of it because it had to do with the Catholic Church. In fact, I believe the timing of the release of this music video by One Direction was supposed to be a boasting that they had indeed completed the taking away of the daily sacrifice from the prince. And by One Direction, I mean the Illuminati, who I'm sure directed this entire music video. So first of all, let's give a brief description of this music video. I'm going to put my glasses on so I get the names of the members of this group correct. In the music video, Danny DeVito, he is playing the Antichrist in this program, meets up with the group, that's One Direction, in the middle of the desert, where a video shoot is being set up. DeVito is serving as their visionary director. By the way, the Croxt correctly points out that Danny DeVito, refers to the tribe of Dan, which is where the Antichrist comes from. He dubs each of the members of the group a different expression. Now, this is the Antichrist marking his members. Harry is love. Louis is danger. Liam is power. Zane is mystery. And Neal is light. From there, the song starts. And Zane is seen with two sumo wrestlers. Neal is seen dancing with an African tribe. Liam is seen as a leader of a marching band. Harry is seen surrounded by masked female ballet dancers, and Louis is seen with a chimpanzee as well as a mountain lion and flamingos. DeVito appears with the group throughout the video. In the end, a rain effect is used on the lot where the group DeVito and all the other acts appear together. And this is propaganda because the scene opens in the desert and it ends with rain. And they are trying to say that the arrival of the Antichrist and his co-partner, the false prophet, brings rain to a parched earth. And in this opening scene, we see the 5 members of the band emerging from their camper in the dry, dusty desert. Now, the 5 is significant because that is the number of Mary's Rosary and the Catholic Church in the Bible. And I think that's who these 5 band members represent. And as they emerge from their camper, behind the camper, 2 men are carrying a red couch. Now, the Croxt did not quite get this right. This red couch symbolizes the second horseman of the apocalypse, the red horse of war. And the guy in the front represents the 2 front legs of the horse, and the guy in the back represents the 2 back legs of the horse. And as this opening scene progresses, the red couch, that is the red horse of war, moves from the right of your screen to the left of your screen. And if you read a map, that would indicate that the red horse is moving from east to west. And I think that is what the creators of this music video are telling us, that war is going to probably break out in the Middle East. That's the dry desert. And it will eventually engulf all of the West. Next, we see the arrival of the Antichrist and the false prophet in a Cadillac Eldorado convertible. And we know this represents the Antichrist because if we look at his license plate, we see there are 3 6s. And this is reminiscent of the scene in Gangnam Style where the man in yellow, representing Pope Benedict, after he is defeated by the Antichrist, drives off in an automobile with 3 5s on the license plate. The 3 5s represent the church, but in this case, Those 3 sixes, of course, refer to the Antichrist. Now, the next part of this opening is extremely important because we see the false prophet give a false Eucharist to the Antichrist. And that's why I believe this video was supposed to be a boasting by the one world government that they had indeed taken over the Catholic Church, and Pope Francis was going to take the daily sacrifice away from the prince. And if you look at a close-up, even though it's supposed to be an apple that the false prophet is giving to the Antichrist, it's pretty faded out, and it definitely looks like a host. And if we look at Danny DeVito close up, you can see he is consuming a Eucharist. And as I say, this is really sets the tone for this entire video. This video is about the taking over of the Catholic Church by the Antichrist and the false prophet. And next we see the Antichrist give each member his name, as I mentioned at the beginning. And this simply symbolizes the marking of the human race by the Antichrist, and in this case, the marking of the Catholic Church as his property. And then Danny DeVito, as the Antichrist, tells the group that in order to create art, they have to get rid of their inhibitions. And notice they are in the form of balls, and the Groks correctly identified these as people, and they have to be beheaded. And this is how the Antichrist gets rid of his enemies. He beheads Christians in the end times, and of course that is a prophecy right out of Scripture. Now, the first of the 5 band members, that is the Catholic Church, to lose his inhibitions is Zane. And evidently he has not been beheaded, but he is put under a lot of pressure by those 2 sumo wrestlers. And those 2 sumo wrestlers also symbolize the Antichrist and the false prophet. And we will verify that in a few minutes when one of them gets splashed with yellow paint. Now, the next band member is surrounded by 5 female masked ballet dancers. And if you look closely, you will see he is wearing a cross. And I think that indicates the feminization of the church. Next, we see one of the band members with an African tribe. I think this means that the Catholic Church has been taken over by pagan entities. And we see another member sitting with a monkey along with Danny DeVito. And the Groks says that the monkey, in this case, symbolizes Ebola. I think it's more that the monkey symbolizes Darwinism, and that the Catholic Church has been taken over by an anti-creationist viewpoint. And in fact, I think these 3 also symbolize the unholy trinity of the end times. Danny DeVito as the Antichrist, the member of the Catholic Church as the false prophet, and the chimpanzee represents Satan. And of course, that would be the dragon in the book of Revelation. And next we see the last of the band members carrying a baton and wearing a very glitzy jacket, and I think that represents superficiality. The Catholic Church has been taken over by the unimportance of the Antichrist and the false prophet. And next comes a very interesting scene where one of the band members throws yellow paint at one of the sumo wrestlers. And notice it's yellow paint. And that indicates what I've been saying all along, that one of those sumo wrestlers represents the false prophet, because the false prophet is the Pope, and the Pope's colors are yellow and white. So we see the 5 members of the band, symbolizing the Catholic Church, seduced by various pagan elements of our society. However, in the book of Revelation, the Antichrist has 7 heads, symbolizing the 7 apostate religions of the world. And as we see in Isaiah, 7 women take hold of one man in the end times. That one man is the Antichrist. And they say, "Let us eat our own bread and wear our own apparel, only let us be called by your name." And the name they want to be called by is the Catholic Church. So we have the 5 members of the band plus 2 more women appear in this video to give us the total of 7. And they also wear different types of apparel. And therefore we see that whoever directed and conceived this video knows his Bible prophecy far better than most Christians. So once again, we see a lot of Bible prophecy hidden in a music video from the Illuminati. And when the band One Direction sings "Steal My Girl," the girl they are talking about is the bride of Christ. And the bride of Christ is the Catholic Church. Incidentally, that false Eucharist given by the false prophet to the Antichrist reminds me very much of Stacy's deviled eggs. Maybe you remember in that advertisement for Miracle Whip where Stacy, who represents Satan, gives 16 deviled eggs representing also false Eucharists to the Antichrist and the false prophet. Another interesting indication that the producers of this music video knew what they were doing is when they showed Danny DeVito as the Antichrist much shorter than the members of the band. And of course, that's a reference to Daniel, where the Antichrist is known as the little horn. And once again, I want to thank the Groks for pointing out facts like that from this video. And I will put a link to his explanation below because it's very good. I will also put a link to this music video by One Direction. And what's really amazing to me is that the people who made this music video, "Steal My Girl," understand Bible prophecy better than the bishops of the Catholic Church. At the Synod of Bishops, a majority of them voted to take the daily sacrifice away from the prince. I have been telling you all along how extremely important that synod was. And because they required a 2/3 vote, fortunately in the Catholic Church, the prophecies in the Bible and in this video, "Steal My Girl," have not yet occurred, but they will occur. And as always, if you would like more information about my ministry and my unsealing of all the great prophecies of Daniel, please visit my new thirdeaglemedia.com website.